Welcome back. It's segment number 3. I'm Jennifer Fierro, your podcaster here in the Highland Lakes, joined by Art DeLugich, the voice of the Orlando Yellow Jackets. We're going to talk some six-man football in this segment. Again, if you want to know about the Orlando Yellow Jackets, make sure you go to segment number 1. Segment number 2 was all about the Burnet County 11-man teams, Burnet High School and Marble Falls High School. And in this segment, we're going to talk about the six-man private schools. Both of those teams lost. Faith Academy went to Austin Veritas and lost 50-6. And Smoking for Jesus hosted Jonesboro, which is a UIL school, and they lost 58-44 in a game that the Eagles were predicted to get mercy ruled. So in talking to Charles Frazier, they were down 30-12, got a late touchdown to make it a 30-18 game going into halftime, and that really gave them some momentum. I think they were still behind throughout the second half, but at least the game never ended without playing 4 complete quarters.
Well, that's outstanding if they're predicted to be run ruled and lose 58-44. That's a good showing. Veritas has been pretty good the last few years. I know a little bit about them, about that much, because my grandkids went to Veritas many, many years ago, and neither played football.
Well, what I find interesting with Faith had played Veritas already during the scrimmage season in August, and Faith actually beat Veritas. I don't know that Faith saw this one coming. I haven't had a chance to talk to Stephen Shipley yet. He is the head coach of the Faith Flames. I am under the impression that not everybody was available to play.
Okay.
So I'll be curious to hear about that. Not sure what's going on over there. And again, until I find out, I'd hate to comment one way or the other. But as soon as I know, we'll write something up and we'll go from there. I know with Smoking for Jesus, they're playing another UIL team, a top 5 team in May. Same district as Jonesboro. Should be a really good ball game there. Just talking to some of the fans who were at the Smoking for Jesus Jonesboro game, I hear the officials threw about 20 to 25 flags. It's very difficult to find any sort of a rhythm when you have that many penalties. So credit to both teams for fighting through that, and of course credit Smoking for Jesus for hanging in there and not getting mercy ruled.
And when you say 20 to 25 flags, these games are 10-minute quarters, I believe.
That's correct.
So it's only a 40-minute game. That's a lot of penalties.
Yes, that is a lot of penalties for both teams.
And we're not saying that it was the poor calls by the officials. We're just saying it was either mistakes by the teams involved or otherwise. But we have no idea. And we're definitely not saying that the officials did a poor job.
No, and we wouldn't be able to. Neither one of us were there.
No.
So, yeah, we were both covering.
Good point.
We were both covering games in other places. In your mind, Burnet County has 4 football teams. 2 of them right now, because I'm trying to think, I know that Smoking for Jesus, I believe, only has the 1 win over Faith. Faith right now, after 3 games, are they 2-3 or 1-4?
No, more than 3 games.
I'm sorry, in 5 games. Are they 2-3 or are they 3-2? Because they lost to St. Stephen's, then they came back and won in week 2. No, they didn't. When did they play Smoking for Jesus? Didn't they play Smoking for Jesus week 2?
Oh, they were beaten 98-62.
Yes. So, yeah, they're 2-3 right now. They have the same record as the Mustangs. So both Marble Falls teams have identical 2-3 records. Burnet is 3-2. Of the 4 Burnet County teams, only Burnet High School has a winning record on a bye week. And Smoking for Jesus right now, I believe they're 1-4, and they'll be playing at home against May at 7:30 on Friday. And that's actually at Wallace Rydell Park in Burnet, not on the Smoking for Jesus campus. I want to make sure I say that. In your mind, what does it say about football in Burnett County right now that you only have one team with a winning record? Do you think it says anything?
Well, I'm sure those other teams that do not have a winning record are not very pleased. And there's still half a season to go and district games to go, so they've got time and opportunity to make a fine season out of this.
Right. And I think that's what Stephen Shipley will tell me, because he is just like Ryan Herman and the Mustangs. The Flames are on a bye this week, and then they go to Waco Live Oak Classic. I think that's right. I can never get it correct. It's the same team that beat them in the state championship in December. Now they're both in the same division, in the same district. So going into the season, this was the game that everybody had highlighted, that the winner of this game was probably going to win the district championship. I believe that there are only 2 playoff bids up for grabs in that district. So the 4
have to finish 1-2.
1 and 2.
Ooh.
So I believe, and I'll double check that with Stephen Shipley when I talk to him, but I believe I heard that going into the season, going into August during training camp, that there are only 2. I am sure, though, because you never know with TAPS, right? Depending on if they have enough players or, there's always a reason why somebody needs a bid or somebody can't take a bid. And they may extend it some way, somehow. That's just TAPS does not operate the way the University Interscholastic League operates. Let's just leave it at that. But with that said, I'm curious to hear from Stephen, because I do think the Mustangs and the Flames, I don't know that they mirror each other, but they are still, I don't believe that going into the bye week, they're still trying to figure out what their players can do. I do think, and it would not surprise me if I hear from both head coaches that this is more about figuring out our personnel and who's available to us. Who can we count on? Who's going to be there on the sidelines that we can put into the ball games? So, unlike the Mustangs, because if there's only 2 playoff bids up for grabs in that Faith district, you lose the district opener on the road. I feel like that puts a lot of pressure then on you to run the table the rest of the way.
Yes, and you mentioned that a lot of things we don't know about what's happening with Marble Falls. And Faith Academy, from the beginning of August, when two-a-days began, we knew that Faith Academy had lost a lot of boys from last year's runner-up championship team, state championship, finishing second.
Sure.
So we knew about their situation, and now we're learning about some trouble with Marble, and we hope that they're able to overcome that.
Yeah, oh yeah. And for both teams, I'll say this. I have not seen Ryan Herman or Stephen Shipley outcoached. So they're going to have their boys prepared. Now, knowing what to do and then the ability to go execute it sometimes is not the same thing.
Well, I think the world of those two, for sure. Coach Herman I've met several times. Coach Shipley a lot more than that.
Sure.
Seen his team play, and I think if anybody can figure this out, they can.
Sure, and they have the time to do it. Okay, you wanted to mention your Llano Yellow Jackets. I think we're done with the Burnett County teams. Go ahead with the Yellow Jackets.
Yes, we talked about them a couple of segments ago. I did not mention the outstanding linemen that have so much to do with the 2,640 total offense yards in the first 5 games, and they are Ross Edwards, Dylan Kennedy, Juice Lang, Hudson Godfrey, Brennan Green, and Daniel Sandoval.
Okay.
For offensive line coach Richard Katner.
Okay, so I'm going to throw you a curveball.
All right.
A Hail Mary here. Have you had a chance to see if the projections hold in what they are averaging rush yards per game, where would that rank in program history? Any idea?
Well, it depends on how many games they play. Now, as far as average per game, that doesn't matter. But they're right on it. If they were to get to play 12 or 13 games, it could be over 6,000 yards, and I think that would be a school record.
In total offense or just on the ground?
No, total offense.
Okay. The more you play, the more those numbers increase. Now, of course, if you play 13 games, you have to divide whatever that total is by 13.
Yes.
So that also may make a difference here or there. I'm just curious about that because I remember covering the slot T with you when David Yeager was here, the wing T.
Yes.
On the slot of the wing.
He had the slot from 05 to 09.
Okay.
And then 10 and 11 with the Rabs went to a spread offense.
Okay. So, and I say that because those run-first offenses, those first 4 years he was here, I'm sure that they were averaging 300 to 400 yards of rushing per contest at that time.
Yes.
Because those were some fantastic teams, great teams back in 05, 06, 07 when I was here to watch them play.
07 was one of the best teams Llano's ever had, a 9-4 record, a big win in the Alamo Dome.
Okay, there you go. All right. For Art DeLugich, I'm Jennifer Fierro, your broad podcaster here in the Highland Lakes. Please make sure you go to TexasChalkTalk.com for all of your Highland Lakes sports news. And please make sure you like, subscribe, and share the channel.